What's up, guys? JP back at you once again, bringing you guys day number 16 in my 14th annual 31 Days of Horror, a series where we watch and review 31 horror films in 31 days, all during the month of October, leading right up to Halloween. And over the last 2 weeks or so, I reviewed movies from the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, and the 2020s. So I've only missed the 2010s, and I was like, well, you know what? I should review something from the 2010s, considering we're kind of hit all the different decades, and I thought that was pretty fun. So I was looking through the collection. I don't own a ton of movies from the 2010s or the 2020s, because I typically don't buy a lot of newer stuff, but there are a few. So I was going through the collection, I was looking at the 4Ks, and I was like, oh, I totally forgot I even owned this, and it was still sealed on this shelf. So I was like, let's go ahead and revisit VFW from the year 2019. This is a film directed by Joe Begos, who has really sort of took shape as a fan favorite filmmaker. I know I'm a big fan of him. He started out with Almost Human. There was another film too, I think one that I haven't seen. And then he had Bliss and VFW and Christmas Bloody Christmas. And now his new film that was in the theaters earlier this year and I believe is streaming or should be streaming soon. It's also getting a release via one of the Vinegar Syndrome partner labels. That film is Jimmy and Stiggs, which I saw in the theater and I loved it. So I thought it was awesome. If you haven't seen it, can't wait for people to check it out. It's pretty awesome movie. I believe we are actually reviewing it on the next Sin Bin. Well, not the next Sin Bin, but the one where it's released. So check that out if you're interested in our thoughts on that. But I did really like the movie. Joe Begos, this is probably the film that I would say like really put him on the map as a fan favorite. VFW got a lot of love when it came out, and a lot of people seem to really gravitate towards it. It made a lot of top 10 lists for good reason. It's a really awesome movie. So it stars Stephen Lang, who plays the character of Fred. You also have William Sadler in there, who I'm a big fan of. I've always loved William Sadler. I think he's an awesome actor. Martin Cove, who I'm not super familiar with. Fred the Hammer Williamson. Also, George Wendt is in this movie. It has a really good cast. Even the lead female, Sarah McCormick, is really solid. I think Joe Begos had such a great idea here, and the way he chose to cast the actors for this film really fit the characters. Like, it was very good casting. I think that's what a lot of people took away from it too. The movie itself follows a group of primarily Vietnam veterans, but there's also a younger character who's an Iraq War veteran, and they all sort of hang out at this local VFW that is owned by Stephen Lang's character, and it's a bar. And they sit back, they enjoy their company, they tell stories, they reminisce, they make jokes. Like it's very heavy camaraderie. It feels so natural the way that they bounce off of each other, and it feels like you walked into a real VFW, and there's all these grizzled vets who are talking and conversating, and it's just a regular sort of day. Then a girl comes running in, and somebody's chasing her, who attacks one of the friend group there, and they basically find out that this girl is on a run from this punk gang, drug addict group of psychopaths, basically, and so they lock the doors and they sort of protect her. But as they do that, more and more of these punk characters keep popping up, and there's a leader to them, whose brother was the person that got killed chasing the girl, and they want in, and they are all on this drug called hype. It's a new drug, and that has to do with the plot as well. And it essentially makes them sort of like hyper drug addict, psychopathic, crazy. Remind me of like bath salts or something. Remember when everybody was doing those bath salts and getting all crazy and stuff? Kind of reminds me of something like that, you know, some kind of street drug that's, you know, dangerous and stupid. But yeah, it's a fight for survival throughout the night, you know, and that's the plot. I'll say Joe Bigos has like a really cool way of filming his movies. His two newest movies, Christmas Bloody Christmas and Jimmy and Stiggs, have a very like neon, cool look to them. I really like those. This one was a little bit more throwback. It almost feels like very Carpenter inspired, Assault on Precinct 13, stuff like that. It's a very dark movie, and it feels very film-like, you know, like throwback, like actual film look to it, you know. And I definitely know that was intentional. The score is really good. You know, the characters early on when they're... And honestly, all throughout the movie, the dialogue's really great. One of the problems that people have with dialogue in Joe Bigos' newer movies is it's very almost like off the cuff, like very swear heavy, and people tend to think it's like overkill. I think that this is like the more subdued version of that, where it feels a little bit more polished and a little bit more written, where his newer films feel less written, you know what I mean? It feels more, you know, off the dome piece. But I like both styles. I think both styles are great. I really like what he's doing in his new stuff too. But yeah, this movie, you know, there's a lot of carnage. There's one scene that I absolutely love where there's like this big dude named Tank, and he, you know, is attacking him, and he gets the shit stabbed out of him, and then the younger military guy from the Iraq War starts giving him like Muay Thai knees and just brutally destroys him, and it's awesome. There's some, you know, funny dialogue, and like there's a part where Fred Williamson is talking about like pubic hair that just like cracks me up because it feels so, it's like kind of dirty, you know what I mean, but it feels so similar to like how these primarily Vietnam veterans would probably be. And you know, it's really awesome. And William Sadler's always smoking and stuff. It's just it's such a good movie, and it really, like, I feel like if you are a product of the 80s or a fan of the 80s and those type of movies, like, this feels very comforting. It feels very throwback, but still modern enough to, you know, to feel like it's, you know, not supposed to look like it's directly out of the 80s, like not like a The Sleeper or something like that, you know, or House of the Devil, the Ty West movie, but maybe it is. I don't know, but I don't know. It's cool, is what I'm saying, bro. It's cool, and yeah, I just really like this movie. I think that it holds up. I mean, I haven't seen it since it probably came out. I may have watched it one other time outside of that, but I think this was probably my best watch with it, and I think that it's definitely a movie that I will probably return to in a shorter span than the previous span, because it's cool, dude. And I love the bar setting too. I like movies set in bars. It's always kind of worked for me. The lighting, it's a darker lighting, but it works for this movie. So yeah, that's pretty much it. VFW, I really enjoy it. I think that anybody who's seen it probably likes it. I haven't really heard too many people say that it wasn't good, But yeah, so I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. I believe it did make my top 10 list back in the day, but I'm not 100% sure. But it probably would now if it didn't back then. But yeah, that is VFW from the year 2019. We'll see you guys tomorrow with another one. Peace.